So every so often, Universal dusts off its old monster properties from the black and white picture days and attempts a modern revival to reintroduce and hopefully revive a once successful franchise of movies. The 80s was a perfect time to do this. The competitive art of special effects was at its peak before the CGI boom, horror was more popular than ever thanks to the slasher film, and everything was go big or go home. How could it go wrong? Well, how about we take these badass looking Stan Winston monsters and degrade them by battling it out with little kids? That's right, Scream Freaks, I'm talking about Monster Squad. A bunch of piss-poor Goonies wannabes duking it out with the legendary monsters hell-bent on ruling the world. Why would anyone want to see the most dangerous bloodsucker of all time lose to a bunch of ankle-biters?
You bitch!
You know who to call when you have ghosts, but who do you call when you have monsters? Well, I guess these kids' mom to see if they can come out to play. Fast forward to 1994, Universal attempted another revival, this time the cartoon series aimed at kids called Monster Force. Now this is everything fucking Monster Squad should have been, with just a few tweaks to the level of violence we really enjoy. Monster Force is a team of college students around about the year of 2020 using EMAC technology, that's Energized Monster Arm Containment, to protect the world from creatures of the night. Well, damn! Getting college credit in the future is fucking dangerous. What crazy-ass students would sign up to risk life and limb crisscrossing the globe to fight the worst kinds of ancient evil there is for a degree? The first student on the roll must have wanted something more hardcore than an Animal House fraternity is Luke Talbot, a level-headed wolfman with glasses and shoes that disappear and reappear as magically as Optimus Prime's trailer. Next you have a psychic named Shelly Frank. Then there's the Norms with non-traditional student abilities like Lance, a long-range weapons specialist, and a martial artist named Trip. The leader of the group is their teacher, Doc Reed Crawley, who's the one responsible for creating their monster hunting gear that's heavily reminiscent of the weapons you find in Ghostbusters and Mask. They use magnetic fields to neutralize and contain boogers of the dark for reasons we're never quite sure of, and wear EMAC suits to enhance their abilities so they can go toe-to-toe with monsters and prove science beats myth and magic. And if that weren't enough, they must also be rolling around in Batman money because they're even armed to the teeth with vehicles that must have bought at a G.I. Joe scrapyard auction. So with armor, guns, and elaborate headquarters, and every terrain vehicle in the Yo Joe catalog, what monsters stand a chance against them? Well, once again, Universal revamps its classic lineup of monsters and sets them up as the ultimate bad guys threatening humanity for almost every episode. You've got Dracula unofficially taking the lead as the kind of behind-the-scenes mastermind whose goal is world domination. His assistant Renfield, who looks like a blend between Igor and Quasimodo. Then there's a creature from the Black Lagoon, the mummy Imhotep, and other baddies that go bump in the night like zombies, demons, and living cities. Now don't freak the fuck out. Frankenstein's here, but he's been relegated to being a good guy fighting with the Monster Force, which I think was a smart move.
No! Go back! Evil!
I like how the show gives us the intellectual version that's more like the monster from the original book by Mary Shelley, who Shelley Frank is named after, given the bond written between her and the Frankenstein monster. I especially like how he's not just hanging around with the gang chewing the fat and playing games, but lurks around all emo reflecting on his role in the world as a monster until he's called upon by the team for whatever adventure or class assignment they're called to. Studying the designs of the monsters, I feel this is where we have the reverse of what I found wrong with Monster Squad. I hated how you had cool looking monsters in a ridiculous movie, but with Monster Force you have a cool show with lackluster looking monsters. Like Dracula for instance. Couldn't they have drawn him a little scarier and with more detail? He's so streamlined and simplified he reminds me of a less frightening version of Ra's al Ghul from Batman the Animated Series. Now same goes for the bland look of the mummy, and what the fuck happened to the creature from the Black Lagoon? He has the best design of them all, but was the lagoon flooded with steroids? Look how small his head is! At least the original Wolfman that bit Lawrence Talbot looks good. Oh, that's right. Universal didn't just bring back their classic monsters and image alone, but the storylines from the original movies as well. Luke is actually the descendant of Lon Chaney Jr.'s character in The Wolfman and works with Monster Force to hunt down the werewolf that bit his ancestor to end his family's curse. Frankenstein confronts his bride. Even the mummy is the same character played by Boris Karloff, and even replays the whole plot from his 1932 movie with Shelley as a reborn princess he was in love with. It was subtle things like this that made me appreciate the show more. Despite slightly childish dialogue and obvious toyetic action sequences, there was darker subject matter cleverly interwoven into the series without being too adult for the kiddies. Like Doc Crawley's scar from when he was a captive of Dracula that burns whenever Fangface is near. Or Dracula killing a family member of Shelley that serves as her motivation for fighting monsters. Now, there's only once when I thought the show was crossing some boundaries when we're introduced to our heroes like they're a cult in the first episode. But minus the close, I guess this is no different than heroes messing with magic in Ghostbusters or He-Man. With animation similar to the X-Men with hard black shadows and amazingly painted backgrounds, I highly recommend this show for monster fans everywhere. I really felt this had every bit the potential of the real Ghostbusters, but it unfortunately only experienced a fraction of that show's run with only 13 episodes, 7 of which made it to DVD, which is fucking jip. The assholes at Universal couldn't put up the dinero to press one more fucking disc for a complete series. So now the remainder of the show remains in eternal limbo due to the first volume's low sales, which may be fucking attributed to the fact it's not a complete fucking series for purchase. So now I have two options. I can either hunt down the remaining episodes on eBay or iOffer, or collect all the figures and reenact the last fucking few episodes from the IMDb episode guide. Well, as cool as these Playmate figures are with their colorful paint schemes and nifty scenery stands, the toy makers made a lame decision that gave us way more heroes than bad guys. They got the whole Monster Force minus Shelley, because nobody wants to play with a flying girl, battling it out with the dreaded duo of Dracula and the creature from the Black Lagoon. Ain't that just buckets of fun? You can give us just one more bad guy like the Mummy? And speaking of missed opportunities, the toy line doesn't even have any of the vehicles, which would have been a big deal for a kid. I think I'll just have to keep to wrangling the final episodes, thanks. So overall, Monster Force is the cool cartoon that delivers the fun action kiddies crave, while providing underlying adult themes for an older audience who are big kids at heart, with episodes like Dark Deception and Dark City. It's sad this particular incarnation didn't gain the audience popularity it truly deserved, but perhaps these undying icons of horror will have another chance to show that they can slip back into the mainstream as an undeniable powerhouse of culturally significant properties. Or maybe not. See you later, Scream Freaks.